Hawk CEO Stuart Munro and first team manager Paul Doswell join me on Zoom. They are 2 meters apart. We did do markings before this interview began conducting. Stuart, there was a meeting of the board this morning, and I believe you want to discuss with us the outcome of that.
Thanks, Henry. There was a meeting with the National League yesterday and the clubs, which Trevor Brock attended on our behalf. There were a number of outcomes or questions that were put to us rather than outcomes, and we replied last night. And at that time, we reserved our position subject to a board meeting this morning. We've now had that board meeting, and we have decided as a football club to put ourselves into isolation for the next 10 days. You know as well as I do that we've had COVID rip through this football club over Christmas. We nearly lost our kit man. Our chairman and his wife have been very ill, and 6 or 7 odd players, including myself, have had COVID. We've now, looks like we've got another positive COVID test, albeit we're waiting for a result in the next 24, 48 hours of one of our players. That player was playing on Tuesday at Bath, and he also lives in a house owned by the club where 3 or 4 other players live, and they are now also going to be tested. That test may not be back till Friday or Saturday, but we feel as a board now that it's not safe to play in this current climate. We have a duty of care to our players, our staff and their families. As I said earlier in the week, Henry, on my press release, that is more important than football. And we feel that it's our duty of care as a board of directors to look after everybody that we employ. So as of today, we are going into 10 days because we don't think we're going to get that result till Friday or Saturday. And we will not be attending Concord on Saturday or Dorking on Wednesday or Braintree the following week. We will then decide as a board after that 10-day isolation whether we feel it's safe to continue playing. Because as we sit here in this current climate, we've made the decision today that we don't think it's safe. I sit next to our manager, who's been a friend of mine for nearly 35 years. And I said to him after the game on Tuesday at Bath, the environment is not safe. That's nothing to do with Bath as a football club. We were very well looked after. But Paul is type 2 diabetes. He may be on insulin soon. So I'm not just protecting our manager, I'm protecting a very good friend of mine. As it is my responsibility as CEO in the football club to protect everybody involved. And we feel that we've got to take breath for the next 10 days to see where we are in 10 days' time after we come out of isolation. And then we will decide. We're taking that decision out of the National League's hands ourselves. So we just felt it was right to come out to say it today. We're not looking for any other support other than ourselves. We feel we've made the right decision. This is purely a safety of our players' decision. It's got absolutely nothing to do with funding. It is purely a duty of care to our players, staff and families. And I'd probably like to ask Paul his view or him to support that position.
Yeah, I think it's been abundantly clear, Henry, for probably 2 to 3 weeks now that the amount of positive tests that we've had within the camp. Rory Deacon's father passing away had a huge impact on everybody. Richie Pope probably being told one night away from probably passing away had a huge impact on everyone. Knowing that our chairman and his wife have been very ill the last 3 weeks has really affected everybody. Seeing that Sam Magbury, someone who's 26 and is as fit as a fiddle, felt like he had someone sat up on his chest for 10, 11 days. And I think what's really hit home is we were in a very small dressing room on Tuesday night. 19 of us were in that dressing room, and now it looks like one of our other players has got coronavirus. And I'm just personally as well not prepared to put myself in the position where I could catch it. I've got underlying health issues, and I'd be very, very vulnerable, I think, to catching the virus and what it would do. And I've got too much respect for my family and certainly my wife in terms of the responsibilities I've got left to put myself in that position as well. And we asked the players, there's certainly the older players, we asked the senior players today. They backed the decision, and some, by the way, they don't feel safe. And I think the situation from Tuesday night is just enough now. We've had 2 separate 10-day isolations. Craig Robson wasn't there on Tuesday night because his partner's got COVID, so he's self-isolated. And from a pure football perspective as well, you know, we're picking teams around coronavirus. We're not picking teams around what I would call a sporting integrity. So from our point of view, the CEO and the board have called me into the meeting this morning. They've outlined their concerns for everybody's safety, and the players and myself are 110% behind the decision to take a 10-day pause. My personal view is that the season will be suspended, and my personal view is that I don't think the season should continue full stop, because lives are now far more important than football. And that says, for me to say that says something, football fanatics, all of us. But it's got to the point that this is unsafe, and it's unsafe without testing. It's only the last week that EFL started to be tested, and now you can see all those teams being shut down. And it's not so much even the 25, 26-year-olds in our dressing room, it's the fact they can take it home, and we couldn't live with ourselves if one of them passed it on to their parents. And it's happened here. There's no question in my mind that Richie Pope got it from probably someone in this club. He's then passed it on to his parents, certainly passed it on to Stuart. And just, you know, how ill Stuart was for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, has just made it become much more stark reality. And I think it's a very, very brave, but more importantly, a very sensible decision by the board to bring this forward early and take it out of the National League's hands. I don't think that they're looking at the safety aspects anywhere near enough. They're just trying to get through a season that is almost not worth playing anyway. So my own personal view is backing the board 110%.
I have to ask, Stuart, have you spoken to the National League yet about this decision, and have they outlined what they've said in response?
I've tried to phone Mark Ives this morning, and I've texted him. I've left a message for him to call me as urgent as possible, Henry. And our club doctor is trying to contact the COVID officer of the National League. Hopefully by the time this press release goes out, Henry, I'll have spoken to Mark Ives and outlined our decision and the reasons for that decision. We are not sure what stance the National League will take, but I am 100% clear in my mind, and so are the rest of the board and our players, I must say, and our players, that this is the right decision. We've sat down with our players this morning and explained to them the board decision, and there was not one player that disagreed with that decision. And I think that says it all. There are more important things in life, Henry, than football. You are sitting looking at the 2 of the most fanatical football fans, supporters, managers, CEO that you can ever talk to. But the time comes that we must put our families first. I spoke to Paul's wife, Kate Doswell, last night at length, and she outlined her concerns for her husband, her family, as I've been thinking and thoughts I have been since Christmas. So, you know, when the manager's wife says to me, I'm not happy with my husband going to football, Stuart, and what's happened in this club previously, and then, let's be honest, if we've been burying our head in the sands too much as football supporters, you can't self-isolate in a 5-by-5 dressing room properly. You try. We can do flow tests. We have been doing flow tests. They're 75% proof. We've done everything we possibly can, but it looks like one of the players or more of our players have now got COVID again. We won't know that until probably Saturday when the result comes back. So I think we need to make a decision as a board, not rely on other people to make the decision for us. So we've done that. we are going to self-isolation for 10 days, which means 3 games that we will miss. And then we'll make a decision at the end of those 10 days till we see where we think the football club is and where we think the country is. Do we think anything's going to change in 10 days, Henry? Probably not. But we're going to see where we are. And we'll then make a decision as a board again.
And also, just to clarify regarding the meeting yesterday, the club backed option 3 on the menu, I believe.
We reserved our position on option 3 because we knew we had a board meeting this morning. So I asked Trevor to confirm the decision back to the league was reserving our position until this morning. And now we are going to firm up our position on option 3, as they call it, by contacting Mark Ives today and releasing the statement. And I think our position now confirms we are on option 3, that we're going into self-isolation. We're not going to turn up for the next 3 games because of safety reasons only. And then we'll look to, I don't know whether the league will be suspended in that period of time, Henry, but that's the National League's decision. We've made our decision for the next 10 days. Then we'll make our decision thereafter again.
Gents, thanks very much for that. It was very open, and I think it said everything that we want to say. So thank you very much for your openness, your honesty there. And of course, anything else that goes out will be available via our digital media platforms. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, Henry.
Thanks,
Thank
Henry.
you. Thank you.